Welcome back. We are here in Rod Assume, and we are ready to continue our Guild Wars 2 personal story playthrough. We are one chapter into Season 3, and we are ready to begin the next chapter. We'll go ahead and trigger that right now. Rising Flames, right? So, I assume we're going to get some mail here. No? No? Okay. I was wrong. So where did we leave off? We were joining Canuck on an adventure to find out what was going on with Caudecus. Canuck is working for Countess Anise, so he's attending to some human matters, even though he himself is a Silvari, and trying to track down Caudecus, right? Headed to northern Maguma, and along the way, big explosion, then explosion like decides not to explode, apparently. And we go to hunt it down, and we discover that, long story short, because, there are several hours of video to cover it, White Mantle are behind it, and apparently a Mersat, who we previously thought were extinct, these creatures from the first Guild Wars game, a Mersat appears to be behind it. So, Caudecus took off, the Mersat took off, and we're like, what are we doing now? Let's find out. Let's get caught up. Timey apparently wants to chat with us. Why was there not, like, some sort of dialogue, or... Am I missing a letter? I am not missing a letter. Weird. Okay. Well, let's go visit Timey then. I did not. See? I'm here alone. I brought a juvenile rock gazelle. No thoughts? No thoughts on the matter? Whoop. Rock gazelle gone. Magic. Alright. I kind of like having the rock gazelle out. Well, I get it. He's weird looking, but I hardly consider him rabble. I mean, he's a gazelle.
Final phase complete. Passcode accepted. Gate relay 04687 activated.
Thanks. Appreciate it. So Asura gates that can be like reconfigured to go different places. Like, that's a pretty good idea. That would sure cut down on the Asura gates all over the place, right? Like, you wouldn't need like 7 or 8 or however many your inlines are. I just thought.
Timey, please tell me there was some sort of calculations error. Primordus is really active?
Oh yeah, there's that too.
You think I made it? Hey, good to see you too.
Sorry. I didn't think we'd be dealing with another dragon so soon.
About that, I have some good news and bad news.
What's the bad news?
Great idea. Good news first. Ha! Feast your eyes and blindfolds on this.
Different tile on the ground. Impressive.
No, this is another one of Rada Novus's secrets I discovered. Stand there and you'll be ported to this crazy simulation room the Novans developed but never finished.
And you finished it?
Well, no, I couldn't, figure it out.
What's that?
I couldn't figure it out, okay? Just so happens to fall outside my giant, incredibly deep pool of knowledge. Whatever, it works now. I called in Moto, an Asura with some experience in that realm. He got it up and running for me.
What's it do?
It can process numerous experimental theories, but the Rada Novans developed it to test themselves against various Primordus minions. Want to check it out?
Sure. It'll be helpful to find out what we're about to go up against.
Perfect. It'll also help me run some numbers and see what the room's capable of.
Okay, so of note, Moto, the Asura who helped her get this set up, he's the guy behind Super Adventure Box, right? So this will have like a certain Super Adventure Box quality to it. In fact, there's actually a reference to Super Adventure Box within it. And that's why. So we actually would have been nice if I'd hit this phase in the playthrough like a few weeks ago, because Super Adventure Box was actually taking place like a week and a half ago. Is that right? When did it end? Like a week and a half ago, I think. I'm not a fan myself. You'd think it would be something I would really like, because there is a certain charm to like old like 8-bit and 16-bit gaming. But for whatever reason, I don't super get into Super Adventure Box. It is what it is. Okay, let's check out the simulation here, because oh yes, I forgot to mention, we also have more dragons active.
Hold, please. Okay, wave one incoming, folks.
Ready, Ritlock?
It's fake fighting. How hard can it be?
I'll note any patterns or specific attacks I see while you're taking care of business. They'll only help us out when we face the real deal.
So I quite like this. As silly as it might be, and it is silly, this is like kind of a fun touch. And I think overall it's like I consider it a well-designed instance. I mean, personal opinion.
Feel the fury.
So if these fires, like if we start running out of space because we've, killed so many of these destroyers, and it's just like now the floor is lava kind of situation, that's what these orbs are for.
No time for that, Commander. It was one thing going against Mordremoth. Of course, you want to save the planet, being Asura and facing Primordus.
Well, I hope you know we're all behind you. I thought we had our hands full with Caudecus and Lazarus, but I think we can squeeze in a quick trip to the Shiver Peaks to take down a dragon.
Well, there's a little more I haven't told you yet. According to what I documented, Primordus is awake. You know this. But here's the more part. It's moved, tunneled its way down to the Fire Islands, south of Maguma.
If we know where it is now, let's just go knock at its door and give it a welcome basket.
Why did it move?
I posit Mordremoth's death and the subsequent magic release must have jump-started Primordus. And then, with a lot of energy pooling in the south, what better place to feed?
So it relocated to get more powerful. Great.
So there's a lot of things about this chapter I do like. Like I mentioned, I like this instance. I think it's whoop. I really didn't want to hit that orb. But there is also like this aspect of the story, not a fan of. Like they're gonna over the course of season 3, they're gonna throw a whole bunch of things at us, all kind of taking place at the same time, and it leads to the entire season 3 feeling extremely disjointed, and like feeling like it doesn't have like a logical sequence, because it doesn't have a logical sequence, and that's not a that doesn't feel good as a player. It doesn't speak well to the the studio and what they're capable of, or kind of what they should be all about and so forth. It's an unfortunate thing, and it's not going to get better. Not even a little bit. Hey, what the heck was that? Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, I kind of messed that up.
Go on.
You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. Maybe you should sit down. No, stand. Stay standing. Okay, here it is. Jormag is also active.
What? How can you be sure? I thought most of this tech was focused on Primordus.
Brown sent a letter from the Shiver Peaks.
What did it say?
Jormag is active, Brown. He's ignored a few words.
2 dragons at once.
Yeah, but there's a silver lining. Neither one has gone all Mordremoth on us. Well, so far. There's such an excess of energy out there, all the old rulebooks are being rewritten. Oh look, the next wave is ready.
Oh good, the next wave.
For the Legion,
So this is the like the reference to Super Adventure Box.
Unless they've somehow changed. A lot.
Moto! I left him alone. don't have the high score. That belongs to Cammy, one of the Fire Island's raiding party leaders. She's super tough though, so...
Another Asura in here? I thought you were keeping all this secret.
I had to let Cammy in on it. A, she's cool, don't worry. And B, someone had to watch our backs while Moto and I got this thing up and running.
You already have people in the Fire Islands?
I have some more, let's say, trusted associates there setting up a gate and scouting. But Flunt really organized the whole operation. Primordus's movement was something I purposely let slip. It's good because it keeps him out of my ears for a little while, and it also makes him feel like a big shot.
Only 16 years old and you're puppet mastering one of your superiors. Admirable. And a little unsettling, Timey.
I'll soon roll you all! Oh, sorry, was the comm open for that? Big bad coming up?
Good. Confirmation that Timey is, in fact, still a child. In case we had forgotten that we're involving minors in this whole debacle. Which is just stupid. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't have made, Timey, Bram, and possibly Casimir, more adult than they are. Whatever. So something that is kind of referenced a little bit in this instance that is worth noting is the idea that the dragons, not by virtue of any sort of cosmic design or anything like that, but rather just by virtue of past history in terms of the dragons, victimizing people across Tyria.
You generated a ton of data for me to see.
Oh, good.
This room could probably run any simulation I can dream up. As soon as I get Moto in here again to debug it, come on out.
Alrighty, I will then. So by virtue of the fact that the Elder Dragons kind of rampage across Tyria and stuff.
Outside of a few monkey anomalies, the room was very impressive. Next time, you'll have to program in some Jormag minions. Any idea what's happening with the other Elder Dragons?
Nothing on Krakatoa can ditto for... what's his name? Brain malfunction, starts with an S.
What about a weakness? All this machinery has to be good for something.
Why don't you channel some patience from the mists there, Tribune?
Yeah, genuinely funny.
Of brilliant Asura couldn't find it. But yeah, I got this in 5 minutes.
Maybe if you were as open with your research as you were with your mouth, you'd have cracked it by now.
You're going to lecture me on openness? Remind me again what happened to you in the mists. Oh, that's right, Zipper Lips.
Okay, we're all on the same team here. But have you made any progress?
Only a few huge leaps. First, remember my chalk organ?
The horribly disgusting body part of an even more horribly disgusting giant bug that you keep in the despicable blighting pod fluid? Yes, I remember. Despite desperately trying to forget.
I named it Spencer.
And it's somehow Mortis.
That's funny too.
Don't listen to him, Spence. Anyway, I discovered why ley energy is different when run through him. And it's paradigm shifting. The chalk feed off ley energy, right? And we know that each dragon has a domain when it comes to their magic. Zaitan's was death, obviously. Well, you know what's guaranteed to give a chalk a bad stomachache? Death magic. Spencer filters death out of ley energy.
So magic is almost like light? Broken up into a spectrum?
That's a perfect way to think about it. Magic as we know it is like white light, composed of all the different types of dragon magic. I'm gonna go down in Asuran history logs for this discovery.
As much as I love discussing minutia, how does this help us?
I don't know yet, but I will. I'll never sleep again. Now, I'm sure you're anxious to try out your moves against the real thing in the Fire Islands, so let's head back to the main lab.
Alright, so finally I'll finish what I was saying. So the various dragons did their thing, and it impacted different races, right? So as a result, each race kind of has an Elder Dragon that they particularly have beef with, right? So Zaitan could most closely be associated with the human race because of the ore piece, and the fact that, a vast majority of the risen across ore were humanoid, or humans. There weren't, yes, there are Hylek, yes, there are a handful of Asura and so forth, but really that was the kind of the human-centric thing with Zaitan. Mordermoth, obviously Sylvari. We hear Taimi make mention of the fact that that the Asura have beef with Primordus, right? Because it was Primordus that pushed them out of their underground cities, of which Radanovis here is one of them, and instead up, onto the surface the way Radasum is, right? For the Char, it's Kralkatork, because the branding swept across Char lands, and they're the ones who were kind of dealing most with the impact of Kralkatork. And then for the Norn, it's Jormag. Jormag was the one who forced them from their traditional homelands down into where the Norn currently are. So that only leaves one Elder Dragon. It's gonna be a long time before we get to that one. And that does lead us to the other. So there are a number of like little jokes here. Several of them are like kind of inside jokes between, not inside jokes, but they're the studio kind of poking fun at things that the community have been talking about at this time. And it's worth noting. So there are 6 Elder Dragons, right? Until End of Dragons, for the longest time, we only knew the names of 5 of them. We only knew what the 5 of them were about. It was easy to extrapolate that the last one was about water. And actually, I think Taimi actually mentions that. She calls it the water dragon here. Let's check. Nothing on Kralkatork, and ditto for... Oh, no, she doesn't refer to it as the water dragon. What's his name? Brain malfunction starts with an S. So it turns out that it did start with an S, but that... certainly the community was speculating wildly, and there were a number of theories out there, and there are also a number of jokes. For a long time, the dragon was referred to as Steve, because the name starts with S. Bubbles was also a popular name for it, just because, of course, when you're writing like your theories and stuff in the subreddit or the forums or whatever, you gotta have something to call the dragon, right? Steve is the one that I kind of most remember. So a few interesting lore things that kind of come out of this here is actually, while I dislike Season 3, I think this is a really strong instance. Gives us a lot, and it's going to continue to give us a bit here.
Redlock Brimstone.
That's tribune to you, soldier.
Not anymore, it's not. You've ignored numerous requests from the Black Citadel to account for your time in the mists and explain this new magic. Thus, you've been stripped of your rank and are hereby charged with dereliction of duty.
You're to come with us, Redlock, sir. And if I don't...
We've been authorized to use force.
But we'd hate to cause a scene. I'm sure you would, pup. Getting this assignment, you two must either be the best warriors in the Iron Legion, or the ones with the worst luck. So...
Top of my class.
But it's starting to feel like both.
Gridlock?
That's
okay,
funny.
Commander. I'll straighten this out. It appears I underestimated the Citadel's response. Hope you enjoy the medal I'm earning you today, soldier. You get to return with Redlock Brimstone in tow. Without a fight? Depends on my travel accommodations. You can have my seat.
Come on, Vicon. You gonna groom him too?
Sorry I'll miss out on all the fun, Commander. I'll catch up with you as soon as I'm able.
Oh,
Well,
man.
Looks like I'm headed to the Fire Island solo.
Sorry, I'd join you, but I just haven't had many moments to work on Scruffy 2.0. Plus, I need to start experimenting on the thing I told you about and the thing about the new thing, findings.
I understand.
Help! Someone help!
Wendell, what
Oh,
happened?
Wendell.
The Fire Islands! Our party lost! We shouldn't have strayed from the main outposts. Cammy held them off as long as she could, but
No! Did she make it?
no. They changed, Taimi. The destroyer's there.
Oh,
Changed? How?
Like Risen and Mordrum. Unstoppable.
Risen and Mordrum? What do you mean?
They're not like they were. Different attacks. A different feel. I don't...
It's okay, it's okay. Take him away and get him some care.
What do you think that all meant?
Aw, poor Wendell.
Sure, he could have. Of course. It's like you said about the monkey. They changed. That's why Mordremoth was able to. The Mordrum, Commander?
What about them?
The ones who came from the blighting pods. Mordremoth had its minions, the Sylvari, right? But it was able to create more, new ones from the dead. That power came from Zaitan. Killing Zaitan caused the other dragons to absorb the death spectrum, but we only saw it in Mordremoth because it was active. Then we killed Mordremoth, and now Primordus has absorbed some of the death and plantiness. I think.
Can we test that theory? I'll go and get you a sample from these new destroyers.
That'd be amazing, Commander. Be careful and let me know what you find.
Okay, I'll do that, Timey. So this is the first time that particular theory is like posited within the game, and I don't know that I'm sure there were players who thought of it when they looked at things happening in Heart of Thorns with the way that the blighting pods and the Mordrum worked and stuff. It certainly hadn't occurred to me until it was expressed here. The degree of foresight on that, as far as the studio goes, I have no idea. I have no idea if that was planned long before Heart of Thorns, or if it was kind of an explanation for what they had already written into Heart of Thorns. No idea at all. Let's ask Belle about it. Belle, what are your thoughts?
Commander, welcome to the Fire Island.
Oh, thank you.
Fitting name. I'm surprised anything can survive here. Can you give me a status report?
We're still assessing, but our preliminary findings are troubling. Primordus' arrival is having a profound impact on the island. The destroyers are surging in record numbers, and there's been a marked increase in the local seismic and volcanic activity. I've been trying to get word to Tiny, but the atmospheric interference is wreaking havoc on our long-range comms. I doubt you'll get much use out of that communicator she gave you while you're here.
About the destroyers. We received word that they've been exhibiting new abilities. Changed somehow. I'm here to gather samples to confirm the report. Where should I begin my search?
Not long ago, we sent a scout east to locate a nest. I'd begin your search there.
Okay, thanks, Belle. So I'm looking for Twilly. All right, let's go look for Twilly.
These specimens are fascinating.
We don't have time for that. This island is going to blow.
What?
Don't be so alarmist. It's just a little volcano.
I'll remind you of that when we're running from a river of lava.
Random researcher is saying things that should be alarming. So we're going to get a lot more on that as we go forward, right? Plenty of opportunities to further examine the question of whether or not the island is going to blow. So one of the things that they did extremely well in Season 3, for the most part, not always, but like of the Season 3 masteries, right? Ancient Magics. This is just a mechanism to advance the story. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of masteries working that way, but I understand. They're almost like filler masteries. That's fine. I get it. Like every expansion and every one of these tracks has some kind, some of this in it. So that's fine. This is the one for this map. This is fantastic. Pretty lame. Game changing, actually. Fantastic. And just stupid, honestly. Especially at 7 mastery points. Like, that's stupid, man. I mean, that's really all this is. Like, if you're gonna pursue this, all you're doing is trying to raise your mastery number. You're just trying to raise this number right here. That's all you're doing when you get Siren of War. Big chunk, right? It goes from 128 to 135 when I get this to 142 if I get Siren of War, which I'm not even gonna do because it's stupid. But this mastery, this is fantastic. And part of what makes that so fantastic is the... actually, I think it was going to take me here anyway and launch me across. Not only does it get you around the map much faster, a map that honestly, prior to mounts, was like a little bit difficult to navigate. Yeah, it's going to take us right here where we want to be. But also, like, it's just really fun. It's a really cool thing. Very, very likable, and so my two favorite masteries from this, excluding Spectralated, because again that was like game changing. This is a completely game changing mastery, which is why we got it in the 0-0 playthrough, because I consider it like necessary for the full Guild Wars 2 playing experience. All right. This one, thermal propulsion, the one we just kind of played with, and then Okar's Reach, which we'll work on as we advance through Season 3, because we are going to use it. In fact, honestly, man, we're progressing on that kind of slow. We don't need it that bad. Let's go ahead and start working on Okar's Reach. They have everything to do with mobility, and that's going to kind of pave the way for what comes after Season 3, Pathfire. And the Pathfire Masteries, which are all mounts, are all about mobility, right? So there's kind of one thing leading to another there. That pink hair is wild. Okay. Twilly. Hey, I have inquiries about changing destroyers, like that over there. Creature autopsy specialist. This is how you like make your living, autopsying creatures? Can you believe this thing? It nearly killed Wendell. Poor genius barely made it to the gate in time. Took 8 of us to bring it down. We're all a little shaken. It took 8 of them to take it down, and it killed Cammy, who beat me in the simulation. Timmy, you might want to adjust the scoring in the simulation, because we're going to kill plenty of those. But okay.
What do you want? I'm quite busy watching my work get repeatedly dismantled by monsters, so if you don't mind...
I do mind.
Easy there. Timey sent me. I'm here to help you retrieve those destroyer samples.
At last, support! I located a sizable destroyer nest, but the beasts ambushed me. Made a mess of my comms equipment. Help me deal with the destroyers and fix the equipment, and I'll get any samples you retrieve back to Timey.
Consider it done.
Let's move quickly. The sooner we're done, the sooner we can all retreat to a less life-threatening environment.
Alright, so we got a couple things we're going to do here to facilitate the research, right? And better understand what's going on with the dragon minis. Oh, that noise. So there's going to be a lot of that, right? We're going to, as the story advances, we're going to understand better, like, what's going on with this entire island here, which is part of the Ring of Fire. We'll be visiting more of the Ring of Fire later. And this was, by the way, this was an exciting and interesting area to visit, because it was an area that towards the end of the first Guild Wars, the core game, not one of the expansions, this was kind of like where the final, this was the end of that game, these areas. So it was interesting to come back here. Now, there is one aspect of it that I kind of am a bit iffy on. I definitely don't remember in the first game, like, these islands being like super metal, where we got like skulls and they got like lava coming out of the eyes and the mouths and stuff. I don't remember that. Maybe later on today I'll log in.
Dangerous levels. I don't know how much longer we can work here.
Neither do I. I'll go. You know, I do have a Guild Wars 1 account that's still active, so maybe later today, out of curiosity, I'll log in and go there, because I do kind of want to see if it's like if it's like that. I don't think it is, and that's kind of a weird design choice. Like it's I don't know what we're, you know, turning it into some kind of like Iron Maiden album cover or something. Which, yeah, I got nothing against Iron Maiden, but, like, you know, it's Guild Wars 2. Come on. Under any circumstances, it's still an interesting place to come back to. It's a shame that people really feel, and I guess I wouldn't argue with it, like the map doesn't have replayability. Because there's actually, like, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 events that just like are in rotation on this one map that are probably worth doing. But I guess, you know, like the folks who, so this is kind of dictated to the community by like these folks who care about like gold per hour, right? Because they're the ones running these trains. People are like, yeah, you can get the most value out of doing, you know, this and this. Hey man, whatever. Like, if you say so. Like, I can't imagine that like world boss trains are like super popular, and yet somehow like no one ever comes here and does these events. That's weird to me. They're easy events, with the possible exception of maybe the like the, oh, what is it that's over? I don't even remember what it is now. The dude is like over here. Is it a big fiery worm? No, because I think that's what happens with Vermegas. which is up here. No, I think it's a big jade armor. It's like a legendary jade armor that's over there. That one's a little bit tough. Like it's a challenge with like 3 or 4 people. If you have 10 people there, you should be able to do it easily. Like, so it is weird that this map doesn't get more play. I think it's a good map. It just, for whatever reason, doesn't pull people back. I don't know. It's weird. It's not as easily farmed as some other Season 3 maps. So if you're like wanting to do the Ascended Trinket thing, you're probably gonna go to other maps. You're gonna go to Bloodstone Fen because those can have their stats reset. You're probably gonna go to like Lake Doric or Doric Basin or whatever it is that map's called. I forgot, the Doric thing. What is that map called? We're going there in a little bit. In fact, are we going there next? I don't remember if we're going there next or not. Lake Doric. Like that one's not bad for farming. It's pain because the enemy's there, but it's not bad. We'll see it soon enough. Twilly, I did your errands.
I'll take those samples now. Rest assured, I'll get them to Timey at once. Oh my, that's not normal.
Not normal? How not normal?
Ember Bay's always presented powerful volcanic and seismic activity, but the intensity of these events is unprecedented.
Thanks to Primordus, I'd guess. The ground felt like it was about to come apart right under us. Are the islands in danger?
Given the dragon's presence, it's certainly a possibility. Unfortunately, I lack the proper equipment to know for sure. One of my colleagues was tasked with monitoring the seismic activity just east of here. He may know more.
I'll check it out.
I will, in fact, check it out. Let's go check it out right now. What is going on with all these earthquakes and stuff? So, I mean, it is pretty reasonable if we're going to be hanging out on an island that is very clearly, like, extremely heavy in volcanic activity that, you know, there would be things like that happening. But just the same, we are alarmed. Consider me alarmed. Torn, not Ton. Remember, Ton's dead. Torn, Scout Torn. What's up, buddy?
Not good, not good. Perhaps if I... No. What if, Oh, this miserable device. Please tell me how to activate it.
No! Smelly Asura will ruin everything! Leave it to Skrit, champions of Rockface!
What's going on here?
According to these Skrit, this device has something to do with the building seismic pressure beneath the island. If we can't figure out how to activate it, the pressure builds and builds until, well, as the Skrit say, pop.
Pop, pop, wee!
Or it may all be nonsense. I can't tell what these creatures are blabbering about half the time anyway. This rock face they speak of knows more. But they won't let me get close enough to ask how to work this blasted machine.
Let me talk to them. I'll get to the bottom of this.
I hope you do, Commander. We're running perilously short on time.
Yeah, well, that doesn't sound good. Are we closer to like the island exploding than we realize? Let's see here. So we're gonna talk to this rock face fellow, right? That's what we're trying to achieve right now, because he apparently knows more about. Do turtles belong here? I feel like they don't. Neither do flying dragons, I guess. Okay. Hey, firstish. I kind of like that, like firstish. Not first mate. He's the firstish mate. Friar. I need to talk to Rockface.
You! What do you want with the Rockface? Speak! Speak!
Let me pass. I need to speak with the rock face.
No! Nobody sees Rockface without Skrit say-so. Friends of Skrit only.
Look, I have to talk to this rock face you're hiding, and the clock's ticking. How can I earn your trust?
Help the Skrit. Yes. Save Skrit from fire. Arm Skrit against the destroyers. Become a friend of the Skrit.
I'll see what I can do.
They're stranded on the lava rocks. Save
Okay.
them before they come.
So another, more errands to run. That is one thing that, for this particular chapter, like, we're going to kind of be doing a lot of that. Now, what it does do, because these starting with Season 3, right? In Season 3, they brought back the idea of hearts. Okay. So, in fact, I don't even think... Were there hearts in Bloodstone Fen? I don't remember. I'm not even sure there were. So I think this is the map where they reintroduced hearts after not having them in like season 2, because season 2 didn't introduce new maps. We didn't have them in Heart of Thorns. You know, season 1 didn't introduce new maps. So now this is the first. I think this map, because I don't think we had them in Bloodstone Fen. This map is the first time that we have new hearts since core game, and they're tuned way differently than they were. Actually, go back down. Tuned way different than they were in like the core game. So they take a lot more effort, a lot more investment. And so by being dragged through a lot of these tasks with the story, we're actually going to get these hearts like almost done by virtue of the story, and thus, you know, if you're doing map completion because you want to try and get a key, or you want like the map currency, or whatever has motivated you to like do that. Where am I taking this dude to a cot? Then you know, I mean, there's kind of a forcing mechanism to get you to do it anyway, and so then you just get it finished, right? And we saw that earlier with the other, you know, where we were running errands before. Look at that, heart's almost done. This one will be almost done by the time we're ready to talk to Rockface here. I don't know that I love it. I don't think I dislike it though either. Let's see. We got to rescue one more script, right? Yeah. We still got to arm 2 more scripts. I think actually I'll still be holding that script if I mount up, and then people are gonna do the jumping puzzle. That's unfortunate. So this map also introduced what is arguably season 3 gave us 2 of what are probably the most difficult and most frustrating jumping puzzles in the game. And this map is one of them. I actually don't remember what it's called right now. I should remember, and I don't. This one I have done maybe 4 or 5 times ever. I'm not a huge jumping puzzle guy, to be quite honest with you. What am I still waiting to do here? I need to arm 1 more scrit, and then I need to wake up 3 scrit. Scrit to wake up are kind of like back here is the easiest place to find those.
What the? You need a mint.
Oh, do I? I mean, honestly, my breath should smell like gin. Which gin doesn't have a particularly strong scent anyway. So I don't know that, like, I don't know what gin breath smells like. I'll smell my own.
You ran from Scrit.
I did not. Don't lie. Let's see, one more. There we go.
So, running. Who's there?
Alright. We just need arm a script. One more. We are also... Oh, there was one. I just flew right over it. I recommend, if you're on a Season 3 map, and you're passing a map currency node, harvest it. Just harvest it. That is literally a Ascended waiting to happen. Unless you know, have all the character slots that you want already fully equipped, just harvest it. Alright. Hey, buddy.
I've done what you asked. Am I allowed to pass?
Good. Yes, good. Scrit are safer, stronger. Come in.
Thank first-ish, mate. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see here. There's other people around. It's kind of hard to get closer. Rockface is what is left of a dwarf who was turned to stone. That is an event that takes place at the end of the first game's final expansion, Eye of the North. And the dwarves do this to contain Primordus, and thus buy the world time. And up until this point, the only one that we are aware of, and he's not been broken into like pieces like this guy has or whatever. He's mobile. He's walking around. He's stoned, but he's mobile. Is
They get simpler when they scatter.
yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. Oh, what's his name? Now I've forgotten his name. Anyway, he's over with the Priory, right? We interact with him quite a bit in Season 2.
Well, are you just gonna stare at me slap-jawed, or is there something I can do for you?
I'm sorry, but You're a dwarf. Or what's left of one.
And you've got eyes in your head. Bully for the both of us. And the name's Roban, not that you asked.
Didn't expect to encounter your kind out here. I thought the dwarves were wiped out in their fight against Primordus.
If you really want a history lesson, I can give it to you after I've dealt with the crisis at hand. I've got islands to save and not much body to save it with.
Crisis? Is this about the earthquakes? What's happening to the island?
There's a torrent of magical energy building up beneath these islands. Energy that feeds directly into the volcano. My brothers and I have been tending to it for years, using 4 contraptions to release the pressure and delay an eruption. Then Primordus and the blasted destroyers turned up, wrecked the machines, killed the other dwarves. Almost did me in 2, but I'm still standing, in a manner of speaking.
And if those machines aren't reactivated soon?
Then the islands will blow, and the destroyers, well, I'd prefer not to think about that.
I saw one of the contraptions just outside. How can I activate it? If what you say is true, we need to move fast.
The machines were built with us dwarves in mind. It won't respond to anyone else. Unless... Ah, I've got it. Take my thumb.
Your thumb?
Yes, on the ground there. Use it to activate the machines. That's one upside to getting blown to bits. Don't be shy. Come closer so I can see you. Sit and pass the time with this old dwarf, won't you?
Dialogue got cut off somehow. Okay.
I'd like to know more about you and the other Deltamore dwarves.
You want to know how it happened? What it felt like turning to stone? I'll tell you what I remember. But it was centuries ago.
You must have forgotten more in your lifetime than I've experienced.
Why are we hearing another player's dialogue? I've never seen that before. I don't know anywhere in the game where we hear another player's
I
dialogue.
was in the caves with my brethren when word came round about the ritual. Such a proud day. Standing shoulder to shoulder with an army of Deltamore warriors. Then the magic swelled and changed us.
Why did you change yourselves?
My race, you see, suffered from a prophecy written over 1,000 years ago. The prophecy said we were destined to stand between our beloved Tyria and the elder dragons consuming it. And so we did.
What happened?
The great dwarf's magic turned us to stone, because only stone can stand for long against fire. The first time Primordus tried to take our birthright from us, we pushed that old scoundrel back down into his slumber. Primordus is stirring again, deep in the bowels of the world. It's left the Shiver Peaks and begun its journey to the surface.
You're sure of that?
Today, I may be the last dwarf, though the Skrit seem to believe there's one more of my kin in the Derman Priory.
Really weird. I truly have never seen that before. Been playing the game since beta. I don't recall being privy
Why couldn't I be stuck with a sword?
to, and not only hearing like the NPC's dialogue, but also hearing another player. I've never seen that before. It was helpful though, right? There's some of the backstory I was talking about to Roban, and he kind of gives his little explanation there. Okay. Let's prevent the island from getting destroyed. Right. Oh no. We need an axe. Do I not have an axe? I do not have an axe. That's unfortunate. What I do have is a thumb. A stone dwarf thumb. But no axe. We'll address that after we talk to Home Slice about the avoiding blowing up the islands here. Torn. I got a thumb.
I just met with Rockface, the remnants of a stone dwarf, if you can believe it.
A dwarf? Astounding. And did this dwarf shed any light on our predicament?
If these machines aren't activated soon, the swell of magic beneath the islands will cause a cataclysmic eruption. They require a dwarven touch to activate. Fortunately, the dwarf gave me his thumb.
His thumb? That's disturbing. But logical, I suppose. I figured there had to be some knack to it, being that the dwarf entrusted you with itself, I'll let you do the honors.
Cool. Thanks. Boom.
That appears to have worked. And to think, all this time, all I needed was a discarded stone thumb.
The dwarf mentioned that there are 4 of these contraptions around the island. Do you know where the others are?
4 of them, eh? Well, I believe one of the other researchers spotted a similar contraption on the western coast. There's another inside the caldera. As for the 4th, I'm not sure. One of the others might know. Good luck, Commander.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate your encouragement. And I also wish good luck for myself. So... Axe. If I picked things up a little bit, we could actually do this entire chapter today. If I like talk less and play more. This is not a terribly long chapter, to be quite frank. I don't think it's a bad chapter. I mean, it's you know, par for season 3. It's as good as anything in season 3. It's better than a couple of them in season 3. The problem with season 3 is everything is just like disjointed and weird and kind of stupid at times. But where is this?
Shiny.
Alright, at some point we're going to get close enough to the jumping puzzle on this map covers a like huge amount of the map because of the way it works. You're not like going up. You're covering vast amounts of space while you do it. So as a result, there's a huge chunk of this map where mounts are disabled. Gliding is not, because you have to glide as part of the jumping puzzle, and that's something that the jump puzzles in season 3 actually like make a very good. I would hate to miss something like this. This is like really the pinnacle of Arenanet's like negligence when it comes to taking care of their product. It's very obvious what's happening here, right? So like none of these people are playing the game right now. And again, it really bothers me when it's folks who are level 455, like you have everything you want in the game, dude. Why be this person? But also a lot of times it's really clear, and it's going to be really clear here. These are all. This is someone multi-boxing. Like it's obvious. Like there should be no question about it, and the studio simply doesn't care, and that is really unfortunate because it's a bad look. So if you're a new player and you're like playing the game and you're like progressing through, you get to season 3 and you run into something like this. Like I wonder how that looks or feels, you know, for that player, because it says something so negative about the game. It says that the studio doesn't care enough to take care of the game, and so that like very justifiably should put you off of the game. You should ask yourself, why do I want to play if the studio's not going to take care of the game?
This definitely merits investigation.
And if I hadn't been playing for years, that might be every time I encounter like AFK farming, it makes me not want to play. And when we're done with Ringmaster Ivy, I probably won't. Like I'll probably log off. I think we're done for today.
A customer! A real customer! Hold on just a minute. I'm not prepared. Welcome to Ember Bay's one and only circus, where you'll witness the grandest marvels Tyria has to offer. Want to buy a ticket?
No time right now. I'm looking for an ancient device, dwarven in make. There's supposed to be one nearby. Do you know it?
Searching for antiquity, eh? We've got a piece that may interest you. Not sure it's dwarven, but it sure is old. I might be convinced to let you in free of charge if you give me a hand with my chores. Otherwise, ticket holders only.
Here's my ticket. If you don't grant me access to that machine, the Fire Islands will erupt, taking your circus with it.
Oh, I guess we can overlook protocol for today. Go on in. Behold one of Ember Bay's greatest mysteries. I would have some empathy for this thing if she didn't eat her young.
Only 2 more machines to find. Next on the list, the Caldera.
Okay. Super exciting. Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Advancing through second chapter, which is what? Rising Flames? Something like that? Yeah, Rising Flames. Second chapter of Season 3. Primordus is active, trying to run down what's going on with that. Assisting Timey with research, and then we discover that the island's like going to explode if we don't do something. So now we're trying to find stuff for the machines. These machines are going to stop the island from exploding. They release the pressure under the island, which is being promoted by the loose ley line magic and also by Primordus. So that's where we'll pick it up next time. We'll continue with our little adventure to activate these machines, and we'll continue to navigate the land of AFK farming and relish the fact that Arenanet doesn't actually care about the product they put out, which is kind of evident in Season 3 anyway, because of the garbage story writing. But usually that's something I associate with Season 4, is just like maps that are just like fraught with AFK farmers. Like, it's going to be so much worse in Season 4, and it's going to be immensely frustrating because it looks so bad. Like if I have people that, like random people just taking a shit in my backyard, that would look bad for me. It would give the impression that I don't care about, like taking care of my stuff. And that's the impression that Arenanet gives us. They don't care either. And they're under the impression they can get away with ignoring the playing community on this. And there are a lot of people who defend it in the playing community. And of course there are, because a lot of people do. And as long as Arenanet doesn't do anything about it, like I should do a Twitch stream where I just AFK farm for 8 hours and see if the studio like takes notes. Like that, if people start doing that, if people start Twitch streaming AFK farming in Guild Wars 2, then maybe it'll get some attention and the studio will care. Right now they don't care because as long as they can, as long as they're successfully selling stuff in the gem store, they can pretty much ignore players. And that's what they're doing. Alright. I'll catch up with you later.